During my time at the Treasury, I've worked with lots of different stakeholders. And I think I've worked with them well, and certainly you see their perceptions of you are very different depending on who you're interacting with. So I've worked with three main groups, colleagues and teams here within Treasury, other government departments, mostly BIS, because that's obviously the department which we're the spending team for, and also a few externals. So I've been to Royal Mail, I've met chief executives of Royal Mail, which was a pretty cool thing, quite intimidating when you're a student. But I'll start with the colleagues here. Overall, I think because the student scheme has been around for quite a while, you're treated exactly as a colleague right from the start. They react really, and it's all about proving yourself, I would say. So talking to people, asking questions, asking the right questions, having enough knowledge to back up what you're asserting. As soon as if you can prove your point, even if you don't get other people to agree with you, they can see that you've done the work, they can see that you're intelligent, and they'll happily give you more responsibility and come to you in the future. So it's largely about proving yourself to others. If you can prove yourself to be an equal and to be able to do the work of a graduate or another range D as they're called here, then you'll be treated in the exact same way as everyone else. This was similar for BIS, the other government department that I've worked with quite a lot over the last year, largely in the FE team. So the FE team in BIS were quite welcoming. They'd seen the last few years' students, so they knew who I was and what my role was, and they accepted my contributions and generally had a positive view towards me and always had a positive attitude. I haven't ever come across this view of, oh, he's just a student, his views don't matter, or... but it has been a little bit different with the shareholder executive. These are the guys in BIS who manage the asset sales, so the guys I work with on the Royal Mail transaction. The reason it's been different is there's never been a student working in this area before, and I found out recently that they never actually realised that I was a student. So they'd always wondered what my role was, I think because maybe we had never made it directly clear. And some of them were taken aback when they found out that I was a student and that they'd been taking instructions and comments from me for the last year. But there was one notable moment I can remember when working at the start on the employee share scheme. There was a guy over in shareholder executive who I think thought because I looked quite young, I probably wouldn't provide much challenge and I'd just nod along to things. In one of the big pieces of work that he produced, I went through it and found quite a few things that needed to be improved on, quite a few things that hadn't been thought about. Rang him up and we had a chat about them, and you could hear in his voice that his opinion had changed and that he knew I'd be reliable enough to challenge on things. Because you miss things, everyone does, it's human nature, so our job was to challenge things and make sure everything got picked up. And from then on we had a very good working relationship. So, as I said before, when working within Treasury, if you can prove yourself competent, then that's the most important thing. And the same goes for Royal Mail at the externals. Whilst they were maybe a bit more standoffish, that's largely because Treasury's role isn't big in our dealings with Royal Mail. It's led by the shareholder executive, we're just there to back them up in a way. So because we never really said much, they maybe didn't acknowledge me that much and we didn't get on familiar terms, but that was simply part of the relationship between the whole group rather than specifically myself.